How to optimize your sleep? Let's find out. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Sylvia and I'm a big city mom. I work, live and raise my family in New York City, and whenever I have some free time, I blog and vlog about health through lifestyle, diet and nutrition. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and I refused to accept conventional drugs and therapies. I wanted to reverse this nasty condition through lifestyle, diet and nutrition. And a few months ago, I did just that. I was so blown away with the results that it finally pushed me to start this YouTube channel. So if this is you, definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll get started with today's video. If you ask anybody about what's important for optimal health, you will almost always hear it is diet and exercise. And this is definitely true. But what about sleep? Sleep is critical to just about every aspect of our life and health, and yet hardly anybody talks about it. Sleep deprivation will cause your immune system to be lowered, making it more difficult for you to fend off bacterial and viral infections. Sleep deprivation will increase your blood sugars, make it more difficult for you to lose weight, and it will increase stress hormones. Sleep deprivation will make you groggy, irritable, and will lower your willpower. So if you have any fitness and diet goals, it will be that much harder to stick with them. How many times were you sleep deprived and you were craving some sugary and starchy food? I know I did, almost every single time. I remember when my son was really little, I loved starch each time I woke up and I wasn't rested. Now, it's important also to mention that technology doesn't make it easier. Tablets, computers, cell phones are all around us and they all emit blue light, which is not conducive for a good night's sleep. So while our ancestors took sleep for granted, us, the modern people, have to work at it to get a good night's sleep. So let's have a look. What can you do to make your sleep more effective and more restful? Let's go to the dark side first. Darkness. There should be as much darkness in your bedroom as possible when you are ready to fall asleep. That means invest in good blackout shades or drapes and remove any kind of electronics that has that blue or green light. Things like alarm clocks or those gadgets that are plugged into the wall. Your pineal gland should not be stimulated by any kind of light. Also, removing electronics has other benefits as far as electromagnetic field goes, but that is my next point. Get rid of electronics that emit electromagnetic fields. They're really not conducive to a good night's sleep. That means your cell phone. Definitely don't fall asleep with your cell phone by your head. Either turn it off completely or leave it in another room. Don't have any TVs, no wireless routers, no laptops, printers turned on while you are sleeping. Now, I know it might be hard in New York City because the apartments are so small and oftentimes we live in the studios, but even unplugging them from the outlet for the night will improve the quality of your sleep. When you are asleep, you should be breathing through your nose and not through your mouth. How would you know how you breathe? Well, for one, your significant other can tell you, but also you can tape your mouth and go to sleep and you'll find out this way as well. I cannot tell you enough how important breathing with your nose is important when you are asleep. Breathing through your mouth will lead to all kinds of chronic diseases, sleep apnea being the least of them. So be sure to learn, practice to breathe with your nose when you are asleep. The best technique you can use is Dr. Buteyko's breathing method, and my Friday findings will talk just about the Buteyko breathing method. I cannot tell you how important breathing through your nose while asleep is, so make sure you are breathing through your nose. Have a consistent bedtime and wake-up times. unless you're a student that works full-time and studies full-time, or you are a brand new mom, then you are excused. But for everybody else, you should be going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, preferably without the use of an alarm clock. But if you have to use it, then it is okay. Now, you should be going to bed on the weekends at the same time and waking up at the same time as well. There's no such a thing as making up with sleep on the weekends. Your body is unable to recover from 4 hours sleep on Friday by sleeping 16 hours on Saturday. We're just not designed that way. The best way of having good quality restorative sleep is to have a consistent bedtime and wake-up time. Don't drink and don't eat right before bed. The ideal time to stop eating would be 5 hours before you are going to sleep. Now, I know this isn't realistic if you are commuting and working full-time and then have small children at home, but at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, you should not eat and should not drink. In addition, you should empty your bladder right before you go to bed. Also, be sure not to eat things that are full of sugar and grains. Examine your tea and coffee consumption. Some of us are really sensitive to caffeine, and that is because we lack a certain enzyme that breaks down caffeine. So even if you have coffee first thing in the morning, you might be still dealing with caffeine at 9 p.m. at night. I'll have a video link up here about changes that took place when I quit coffee. One of them was my sleep improved tremendously after I stopped drinking tea and coffee. Alcohol will sabotage your sleep as well, and it's almost counterintuitive because oftentimes when we have that initial glass of wine, we feel relaxed and sleepy, but in fact, alcohol prevents us from having deep and restful sleep. So if you're drinking alcohol pretty much on the regular basis and you can't sleep well at night, have a look at your alcohol consumption. This might be the culprit. Let's talk about light, daylight and the artificial light. You should be exposed to daylight daily, every day, preferably in the morning. That informs your circadian clock. It is the beginning of the day. It is time to wake up. It is time to get going with your day. Now, I know it isn't always easy because we commute. There is winter and cloudy days in the Northern Hemisphere, and we spend all day in the office, and these days we work from home. So this will be challenging, and you actually have to put your mind to it to be exposed to daylight daily. It will stimulate your circadian clock. It's really important. At the same time, as the day progresses, you should be using more of yellow light, and if you can, dim it in the evening so that your body, again, your circadian clock, receives the message that it is time to wind down and get ready for bed. And while we are talking about the circadian clock, don't exercise too close to bedtime. All the hormones that will get released through exercise may prevent you from falling asleep an hour or hour and a half later. That definitely was true with me. I used to exercise sometimes 7, sometimes 8 p.m. and it was impossible for me to go to bed at 9 or 9:30 p.m. And so I had to move my exercise to 4 or 5 p.m. and these days I actually prefer to exercise first thing in the morning. Usually it's 6 or 6:30 a.m. And finally, a correct temperature in your bedroom is also critical to a good night's sleep. The ideal temperature seems to be anywhere between 68 to 70 degrees. Believe or not, if you live in New York City, it might be challenging because especially the older buildings have those heaters that you can't quite control the temperature. So sometimes the only remedy for really high temperature in the winter is to open the window. Alright, so these are my strategies for optimizing of sleep. And there is one more, and it is called grounding or earthing. It is really important for a good night's sleep, but because it is such a broad topic, I will dedicate a separate video just to grounding/earthing. Alright, before you go, please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!